Hello, people of the internet. My name is Jeff In Control Robinson, and I am joined by Zombie Grub as we are about to bring you WCS Season 3 Challenger North America Edition as we enter into our brothers and sisters of the continent of North America, where they will do battle.
Yeah. I'm really happy that you just called me Zombie Grub, by the way.
Why?
Because I don't like my real name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, none of us do. That's why we have our fake
Exactly.
internet names.
You get to choose our name.
That's right.
I chose an awesome name.
Maybe someday there'll come a time where people name their kids that way too, right?
I hope someone names their kid after me.
Zombie Grub?
Little Zombie Grub.
That'd be good. Well, hey, we had a 4-minute break, so if in that 4 minutes you slipped, fell, forgot who you were, or didn't watch the previous iteration of WCS Season 3 Challenger, here's the tournament format. 16 players enter into 4 groups of 4, and they'll do battle in a double elimination best-of-3 tournament to determine the top 1 and 2 finisher, who will go on to play in the playoff bracket on August 25th, which is later this month, where we'll explain it to you not only next weekend twice, but we'll even explain it to you in that last weekend again. So if you don't know the tournament format, you just aren't trying, and there's nothing we can do for you. But it's not just the tournament format. Show them how much money they can win, production. Didn't have that on cue, did you? There it is. $1,600, which if you think about it, is $400 broken down into 4 stacks of $400 to equal $1,600. You could say in the 4-person group, if you are the top number 1, you get all of their $400. But that's not true because they also get $400, even for taking last. Your thoughts, Zombie Grub?
What?
Thank you. So that's the tournament format. That's the money you can win. Of course, WCS points up for grabs. But what is not being shown a graphic is the pride that is on the line as these players will do battle. Our first match for the day is going to be Neeb taking on Antis, which is short for Mantis, I would imagine. Otherwise, what is that name? And then after that will be Silky.
Oh, man. A lot of random players.
Doing battle with Starkiller. Oh, yeah, I guess. You know what? It's to be decided. It's not locked in yet.
Okay.
So 3 Zergs and a Protoss, and if you've been keeping track today, that's 7 Zergs and 1 Protoss for the day.
Yeah, Neeb messed everything up, man.
That's
I wanted nothing but Zerg
Why?
versus Zerg.
Yeah.
Why just include a Protoss in
He
there?
ruined it. He could have picked Zerg for us, I guess.
Yeah, why don't just just take Neeb out and put Scarlet in, right? Just
Perfect. That would have been a perfect day.
But unfortunately, we have to cast a non-PvZ. Woe is us. Woe is us. But it is going to be Neeb versus Antis. A PvZ starting off on Acid Plant.
I like it. I would say Antis is the dark horse of the Challenger. I really do enjoy this. This is one of those kind of new names up and coming in the WCS system. This is what we asked for, as players to have something to play for and to strive for more. And that is what this guy up in the top left-hand side, wearing the red trunks, it's Antis. Nicola Prat.
It's a cool name.
I do like that. Nicola's a cool name.
That is, yeah. In the bottom right, as the blue Protoss for America and Ting, he is Neeb.
Playing from Korea.
That's true. He's for America, but
he's
he
a world
likes
man.
Korea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's from New York. That's basically everywhere anyways. Yeah. Nicola, I like that. You and I, you got Jessica.
Yeah.
I got Jeff. I mean...
Well, my family was limited to J names.
Really?
Yes.
All of y'all?
Yep. James, Joanne, John.
Oh my God. Did it have to be a thing after your parents were both J's? They were like, well, we
Yeah.
gotta...
Well, and then they named my brother after my dad. So then it had to be a thing. And then my brother married a woman named Jessica.
No.
Yes.
It stops though.
No.
Your other brother?
He demands that when they have kids, they're all named J's.
Oh.
Yep. Yeah. I thought
You guys need to be on like Family Feud, and they can do like James, Jessica, John, Joanne, and Jesse. Come on out.
You know how like your mom does that thing where like she calls all your siblings names?
Yes.
Like, yeah, that gets even worse in my family.
That'd be terrible.
Yeah, I thought anyone who didn't have this was adopted in their family, by the way, until I was like 8 years old.
Well, to be further off topic, one last thing that's kind of funny about that. In my family, the naming tradition is that all the siblings take on the full names of our elders. So my name, Jeffrey John Vincent Robinson. My grandfather's name was John Vincent Robinson. And that's where they want to stop. But my joke is, if I have a kid, his or her name should be like Jerry Jeffrey John Vincent Robinson, and then keep it going until we have like 12 names.
What is that song? I can't even actually remember the lyrics right now, but...
I'm a Smith, he has my name too. Whenever I go out. Yeah, anyway.
Exactly, thank you.
Yep, we could do that. Well, hey, getting into the game, you guys didn't miss much. If you're really worried about our off-StarCraft banter, don't be. There's a Stargate coming up for Neeb, but that'll happen in every single PvZ he plays. What comes after is usually the kind of interesting thing. We still do see a lot of Archon drops. You can go double Stargate Phoenix. That's something that players will throw out there, although I will say it's fallen off a little bit just because Zergs have kind of reacclimated and gotten better about defending against that. On the flip side, do you know what kind of player Antis is? This is where Fear Dragon, it would be really nice if he was like squatting below the table and we could ask him. Because he knows for sure, but do you know? Because I don't.
Well, I know that he goes for a Roach Warren at 4 minutes every game on Acid Plants. Lair at 4:15, and then he makes... No, I don't actually know. I have no idea.
That would be sick, though. You say 4 minutes like on the dot, and it just does go down at that time.
I mean, it was actually kind of a safe guess.
Yeah, well, let's see here. Yeah, no, we're not going to. If we do that thing where we like, wait for the clock, but it's 40 seconds away, that'd be really bad. Just a scouting adept here, showing up, chucking forth its Shade self, seeing if it can't see something, and now it's going to go ahead and actually commit pretty heavily. So the Shade's going in, but yeah, I was just going to say, the Adepts were actually moving in as well, but he is going to commit to this, gets 2 drones right off the bat, which you'll be pretty happy with.
Okay, alright, he's gonna go for third one.
Yeah.
Yep. Alright, as Phoenix gonna take care of the Overlord before it can get another scout back in. So I'll put it back on inverted, that's cool. That's cool, I don't need my observing tools. The Ling's gonna go try scout at the third base, but it's put down rather quickly, which it's not. In fact, we do have a fast second Stargate.
Yes, so he is going to lean into that. And that can catch a lot of Zergs off guard, especially if you don't scout it. And I do like the Phoenix first, then Oracle, because that Oracle, again, would send the message to you that it's typically a Robo and like Archon drop behind that. Because if you go Phoenix, then Oracle, that doesn't necessarily make you think you're going to see a lot of Phoenixes, but of course that second Stargate and then the multiple Phoenix coming off of that will do that. But he's going to jump on top of the mineral line here and just kind of absorb the damage from the single Spore Crawler and get 3 drones for itself and move out.
Yeah. I guess maybe not ideal. It's like a lot of damage on both those units, and only 3 drones. It's okay.
It's okay.
Not really enough Lings to stop this third base from coming up, and yes, that Overlord was the only real scout that Antis should get. I don't see these Lings getting into the main base anytime soon, so they have no idea about the double Stargate. Antis also still, like, he's really pushing off that lair. The reason I said a 4-minute lair is it's usually a pretty good guess, but I don't know, he just canceled, but he can Evolution Chamber now.
Yep, a little bit of indecision on his side. Lots of Lings coming out here, so perhaps the idea is to jump on top of this third base. Can't imagine that's defensive. That'd be really silly. And that'd be tough, because Neeb, I don't see the Adept count being super high right now, but he is one of those players that does do that. He gets like 6-7 Adepts and goes for the Stargate play at the same time, and usually tries to jump on top of things with both those techs.
I mean, I would actually like this for Antis if his +1 melee was faster.
Yeah, and it was defensive, by the way. He's not going for it.
Yeah, so this is... He's not going to do much about the third base. And by the time that he does have a sizable amount of Lings with that +1, I think Neeb will have preparations. As Phoenix are going to show themselves, finally. They're maybe take out Queens, drones. I mean, 1 Spore Crawler will not stop the onslaught. It's on an extreme number of Phoenix, but there's only so many Queens and no Hydras, as that lair was kind of late.
And the nice thing about this, too, is he can... I mean, he's got some Overlords available. He's going to go after some drones. I was just going to say, he's got his pick of the litter, right? Like, he's got a mostly naked mineral line except for the single Spore Crawler. And actually, Neeb's going to pull back here. I don't really like that. This base is defended. There's no way the Lings are going to do anything about that. In fact, the defense is so confident it's going to move out here and fight the Lings outside of the third. But yeah, the Phoenix coming back, I guess he respects it, because if there was roaches with the attack, he kind of has to. Yeah, the Spire's weird here, right?
That is an interesting choice. I suppose if Neeb doesn't scout the Spire, which is unlikely, considering he still has like an Oracle Revelation and all these Phoenix, well, they're literally about to scout it right now. If he didn't scout it, he stopped making Phoenix, and then went on them with Immortals. I guess you could say, like, if he makes 15 Mutas and 10 Corruptors, then he could shock the Protoss, but it is scouted. All he has to do is just continue to scout that and confirm, like, hey, is that a Corruptors? Are you trying to go for this, like, weird Muta thing? Because I have the answer to that, so why would you try?
I agree with everything you said. I would just add the additional reason I don't like it is because even if it doesn't get scouted, the tools are already in place to respond to it. So if it's Corruptors, that only really shuts down the Phoenix, but then you add like 6 Void Rays and they become almost invincible against them. The Baneling's trying to look for a connection, they're not going to get it. But then you go Mutas, like you said, and okay, there's like a moment where the Phoenix is like, oh no, there's only like 8 of us, which is still kind of okay, but then you add more, and then that's absolutely shut down. So it's playing into your opponent not knowing how to react, but Neeb's going to know how to react. And it is Corruptors, by the way.
Yeah. Okay, all right. An Infestation Pit, so going up to that Hive as well, I suppose, or maybe Swarm Host, but getting all the upgrades, and the Phoenix continue to get just great scouting, great harassment, but an Overlord wasn't pulled back quite yet. Neeb's going to have not just the air army as he builds Void Rays, but also getting to the upgrades on the ground, up to Archons, probably to be really safe there. They have an all-around good Protoss army, and Antis just, if he was doing this all off the back of like 5 bases and extreme economy that he was defending, like it's like, okay, kind of do what you want, like try and mix things up, but his actual base here as just a Zerg player in general is not that good either. Exactly right.
There's not a lot to sell for us on behalf of Antis. There's no amazing creep spread. There's no hidden tech. There's no lurkers about to show up or something. The Corruptors are in no way, shape, or form an advantage. They're like a canceling out factor at best. And like you said, if you're at 5 or 6 bases, okay, the canceling out's kind of cool. But as it is, the Corruptors show up and they're like, oh, there's already Void Rays too. So I just have to kind of run, and these Corruptors are a little bit dead weight, and that's what's going to happen here. He turns around and fights, but that just gives more space for the Voiders to catch up, and once they catch up, by the way, it's a dead Corruptor.
Yeah, definitely. I guess there's some Adept Harass going down as well. That's where the drones are going down, but the Corruptors are all going to be taken out, so they were not that useful. We have so much tech on the way. He's going to go back into more Corruptors, but that's, 14 Corruptors maybe, but 7 lost, and then 7 more. That's not that great. The Adept was finally cleaned up, and he does have an attack going on this base, but doesn't even get the cancel on that. Forcefuls are placed down in the nick of time, and things don't look great for Zerg.
Yeah, the Phoenix were pulled back, so it's like kind of a sloppy, a lot of them died really unnecessarily, but even that's just kind of okay. It makes the supplies look a little bit more doable for Antis, but the Protoss Neeb here was up like 30 or 40 supply, and in a PvZ it never, I mean, not in a healthy one anyways, it never looks like that. So it's pretty bad. He's not using any more of the Stargates because he's just like, okay, well, I killed all your Corruptors, so there's no way you'd make more, right? Well, he is actually, or did.
Gotcha. The army's actually going to run into him. Lone Void Ray is taken out. Some effect. No, it's not even taken out. Never mind. Not even that. Big Zealots run by, going to be lined up on the left side. There's not much scouting here because the Phoenix took out the Overlords, and there's not much Ling coverage. The creep spread is starting to get pushed out a little bit. He did have extra Queens built to help out with the Phoenix, I suppose, but now it's really good for that creep spread.
And now Swarm Host?
Yeah, which is kind of a weird thing here because his Corruptors, they haven't really dealt with the air army of Neeb, and if Neeb really wanted to, he could just go back in a Phoenix and just pick up Swarm Host and kill them.
It's tough, I mean, I think Antis has been behind the whole game, so I see myself overanalyzing his choices, and I think it's only fair to kind of put it from the lens of, this guy's really far behind, so if he just starts making Roaches and Hydras or something, or just goes into like Ling, Hydra, Baneling, that's just gonna die, right? Like, he's just behind in economy, he's behind in tech. To just go into that now would just losing the game. So he's gonna try some weird stuff. Unfortunately for him, Neeb is, a very seasoned and powerful Protoss player in this position, so when you try weird stuff, when it looks bad, it looks really bad.
Yeah. I feel like I can understand kind of his thought process in a lot of ways. Maybe go into that after this fight is decided, which this should be the game-deciding fight. Banelings do come in from the backside, but not even really well microed. I guess what are they going to hit? The one sentry that's in there?
Yeah.
So they all just crash into one Immortal, and that is going to be it for game number 1. GG.
Very one-sided affair, but to be honest, with Antis versus Neeb, if it wasn't a one-sided affair, then there'd be some serious red horns and flags and lights blaring in the Neeb camp, as he is in Korea, which is hard to play over here, but he is just, I mean, you can kind of wrap your head around him losing to Silky,
sure,
but him losing to Antis,
yeah, that'd be a whole nother level of like, oh geez, it's a big upset. But as I was saying, like, once the game was done, I feel like what our Zerg player did there, if he just did everything faster, right? Like if he had the +1 of the time, that would usually make more sense up against that double Stargate. Maybe he does get one cancel on the third, and then he goes into the weird spire that is hidden, not found out. Then there's like these mind games on top of clutch timings, and it's cool, but then you got to be basically like rogue to do that. So you're asking a lot of yourself.
Yep. And you can kind of, I mean, again, the story kind of shows itself in-game. He cancels the Roach Warren, goes to the +1 melee. There was nothing that was necessarily scouted out there for him to do that. It's just kind of him in his own mind inside the game. But he's been given the tall order of going up against Neeb, who has, other than last Challenger, been the most consistent North American Challenger player who just wins or gets through, makes their way to the WCS stop, and then does very well there.
Yeah.
It's just a tough draw.
It is. It is. I think there are a lot of other players in WCS NA Challenger that he might be able to prove himself against. Right. But Neeb, if he did that, well then, I mean, I'm not even sure that's more of a... I'm not even sure that's a mark in his favor as much as it is like, Neeb, what happened? Like, what do you... Oh, gosh, what's happening here? Yeah, again, don't mean to be disrespectful, but we expect Neeb to get top 2, if not actually win the whole thing. So, yeah, that's what you're going to be facing, Antis.
Tough call. Well, here he is. We're going to be heading into the second map here. Antis versus Neeb. The map will be Catalyst. The map pool, very, very good, very solid, but in for some change, by the way, which is kind of interesting. They talked about how they are taking a really close look at the maps right now, and this next ladder season, I believe, will be the maps for BlizzCon. You're usually more informed than me. That's the case, I think, right?
I am more informed than you?
I would say
well,
so.
I think that's a good guess. I'm with you with that. Let's say that's the truth.
Yeah, let's just do that for now until someone yells at me. But either way, we're in game number 2 here of this best of 3, and in the lower right-hand side, the dark horse, the new face, the WCS NA Challenger. It is Antis. What's a fun fact? Infinity Gaming, first time qualified for Challenger. I like it.
Okay. Well, on the top left, this guy has qualified many times. It is the blue Protoss for Ting. It's Neeb.
Neeb, one of the big champions of the scene. Taking care of business pretty straightforward so far, but we're going to have a little bit of a different opening here, by the way, from Mr. Antis, as the pool and gas do go down before the hatch. The drone's circling back around, so obviously he will at least attempt to take the natural here in a moment. He's like, come on, money. Nope.
Okay, no, just kidding.
Dislodged.
Yeah. Well, I guess, I mean, it looked like he was just going to take the third as his natural, timed out with the drone, but then decided, oh, no, I want the pool, and then, okay, the hatchery. I mean, all right, then. Sucks to be changing up like that, because I feel like for the pros, I'm watching, like, Nurchio or Snoot, someone that's very, like...
deliberate.
Yeah, and just like someone I can depend on, I feel, right? Like, and I'm like, third base, you're natural. What is that? Does that really make a difference? Like, I don't know. But for Antis, it actually might be a big difference. Maybe really thrown off by this.
Yeah, that's a good point. It does have a different feel to it, doesn't it? It's like more of a strategy when one of those guys does it, and with this, it's like, is it panic? Is it time to freak out?
Well, it's just like, you know, they will compensate for some things, but this is one of those things that I actually, big props to Antis for giving us a cool game at the very least. Fast Roach Warren is that, you know, use it against them. They think they got you. They think you got... You know, you're the one that's messing up having to go for your third for your natural. Well, maybe you don't actually scout my natural. Like, and you're right towards my third because you think I'm foolish enough to send drones over there when an adept comes by. You don't scout that there's just nothing over here, and I can blindside you. But Neeb, I feel like he learned this last challenger too. Silky took him out in that ace match with a bit of a cheese, so he should be very on guard against these guys today. And any of their shenanigans. So hopefully this adept goes right towards the natural. Yep,
and it will. And it's going to see a lot of the aggression coming mid-map, but it's still going to be a tough hold, by the way. He only has the one gateway and the one pylon powering it, with a Stargate up behind it, which in the past has been Phoenix first. So if he queues up a Phoenix here, well, actually, he'll probably see the aggression in either case. The Stargate's going to be scouted here by the Ling inside the main base, and so far, Neeb does not know what's going on, but when he shows up to the natural and sees nothing there except for some roaches walking out, he absolutely knows it's time to defend.
Yeah. This would have been a lot better had it not been scouted at all, but it is extremely unlikely. These Lings did a surprising amount of quote-unquote damage. A lot of probes are chasing him around, but he just walls off, gets a Void Ray, and then what do you do? Oh, apparently Antis is going to try and drone now, but that's just...
yeah.
That's not going to look very pretty.
A couple of Overlords as well, as he is supply blocked.
Oh.
So it's going to be these... like few roaches and ravagers, I assume, being built behind it. It ends up being more of like an econ timing attack. The problem I have with this is that it's such a severe cutting to get to this point that the fact, and by the way, the response from Neeb was brilliant. So if he doesn't wall in and the roaches get in and they pick off 4 or 5 probes, they kill a stalker or 2, that's the kind of damage that does make this really advantageous for the Zerg. But as it is, he did nothing, and now he's droning behind it. So he's in a really bad spot.
And it could have been a cool little burrow tactic too, which really would have been bad if they were allowed in. So he might be accounting for that. I mean, getting an Oracle just makes sense next, but also would have helped if it was that fast burrow. No, it's going to be able to scout that he took a third base, that it was a macro attack, which, I mean, back when Legacy of the Void was first released, you actually saw this quite a bit as people were really experimenting, and they could do this and still be okay. But it was a very different time. The pacing is just entirely thrown off for Antis here as he tries to drone. He's once again supply blocked as that third hatch is not quite done.
I think the best thing for him is Neeb might be fully walled in, if I'm not mistaken, and I do believe there's no probe outside of it. So.
Oh no! Oh, there's no Spore Crawler.
Oh well, everything I was just saying is just kind of. If we just watch this, I'm like, never mind.
Oracle will barely live. That had like 1 shot left on it. At 8 drones.
Yeah.
And still no Spore Crawler, by the way. Oh, actually, the Void Ray finds a Queen off creep.
Don't think it'll get it.
Yeah. Kind of silly.
But even this is kind of nice. Like, it sees that there is no creep spread between us.
Oh, wow. He's going to go for it. Oh, second Oracle's here. That's why. That's all the anti-air then, as, oh no, there's one more Queen, but he's building 3 more. Still no Spore Crawl at the third, means that those drones are up for grabs.
Anywhere.
Same for the natural.
This just might be over.
I think it is over. I wonder if there's a couple Spore Crawlers, how much of a game Antis could have given us, but down to 26 drones again.
Yeah.
Trying to do a tactic, actually just bring back the air army, but the ground army, the full wall off, doesn't really matter.
Nope. And I mean, he won't get that. He won't even get that final guy there. Does get a stock. I don't want to pretend like that's some kind of advantage. Again, it's just a wall in, which I was about to talk about being kind of nice, but then he lost about 20 drones and is at pre-layer tech, so he's just going to have to make more just to get equal to where he was.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about worker loss, but the impact of it is just so devastating.
6 gateways on the way. Neeb is not going to play around here, go for super macro. I mean, he's taking a third base, but I think he's going to, if he sees an opportunity, which he has a lot of scouting given to him with the air units, then just go for the attack. And little Warp Prism, there you go. And Antis will not have anything to deal with it, because I don't even think he's, oh, that was an awkward first foot, made any Ravagers, so remade any of those Roaches that he lost. This Void Ray is once again going to tango with the Queen. Can't actually do that.
Just softens her up a little bit, and if the Oracles join up with the Void Ray, they can actually straight up win the fight, perhaps, but or not, or can just die.
I guess that wasn't really important.
There is a lot, I mean, you know, we'll see if this matters against either Star Killer or Silky, but it's not like Neeb is, in each game, it's been a little bit sloppy here and there, and that could be the connection between Korea and North America, or it could just be good old-fashioned mistakes, which Neeb can make. But like you said, this Warp Prism's going to show up, and it's, you know, 7 Roaches coming out. Super dunzo.
Pretty much, yeah. If they turn into 7 Ravagers, then, you know, we do have to talk about the possibility of hitting that Warp Prism with the Corrosive Bile and then a Miracle Hold. But if it's just Roaches, then the Force Field will go down easy peasy. Warp Prism will micro the Stalkers as if they did have Blink. Actually going to warp in just Zealots here, so not even charge, right? But the Force Field's combined, they still get that damage in. Just too much army. Doesn't actually matter what happened here. There's no micro to be done. Yeah, he's going to try, though. Yeah,
it's even scary because they're inexpensive, so you can actually kill Zealots, but as long as they kill almost anything in return whatsoever, that's good enough. There's a Spore Crawler chasing the backlines, which is kind of cute. Actually staying out of the range of the Queens. This is the control we were looking for. Neeb wants to be done. Now, okay, Warp Prism does get picked off. Units denied here. But with the drones being pulled, it's once again that famous question that every caster has to ask. At what cost?
At what cost? He does do the hold. I mean, it wasn't Corrosive Bile that took on the Warp Prism. It was just him going up against the Queens. But he's got more Stalkers warped in at home. I guess he might be going to Blink, because why not? It kind of feels like Neeb is just, he thought this was going to win. Who can blame him? Like, with the Warp Prism didn't die, it does win. But it still did really do good damage. And he feels like he can just kind of do whatever he wants, which is still true. But he does have to be, I guess, a little bit careful not just throwing the game away.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those funny things where, like, for right now, that's totally fine, and what you said is absolutely true. But if he, I don't know, somehow loses the next army, they're on the same number of bases, and then, like, a Ling run-by gets in and kills, like, 10-ish probes or something like that, you can actually lose that game from there. So, Antis is not being super weird staying in the game. Oh, Nidus Canal, by the way. Whoa.
Yeah, you know, he just took out a Protoss army, which, I mean, hey, if it was Colossus base, it takes a long time to rebuild, but Stalkers not so much.
And Zealots, too, that's the thing.
Yeah, so it's not like he's hitting some clutch timing or he does not have an army. In fact, his army is already rebuilt and on his front door. GG.
And that is that. Just a factor of numbers there as Neeb absolutely takes care of business and wins 2-0 in that first match. A little bit anticlimactic, but again, like we said, that's kind of what you expect in this one. Antis, amazing job even qualifying for here. But realistically, he had to look at this group and probably say, I need to beat a Star Killer or a Silky to make my way out of here, probably both. And that is going to be what he's going to have to aim to do as Neeb goes to that winner match, which just set up this next match. We have another ZVZ. Guys, I know it's been like 10 minutes since you had a ZVZ, so let us please load up this next one for you. It's going to be Star Killer taking on Silky. Silky is the guy, of course, that had a great run at beating Neeb last Challenger.
Yeah, I think that's what everyone's excited about. They're kind of hoping maybe that Silky takes out Star Killer, which I think is the favorite, bet there, and that he will be able to face Neeb once again and see if that was just a, an odd thing here and there that does happen in StarCraft 2. It would actually mean something.
Yeah.
Is Neeb actually, without the magic of NA, or is Silky just getting that much better?
It'll be fun. We've had some of these young players come up in the system and show us some better results, but could he be stopped by Star Killer? You'll have to wait and see after this short commercial break.